बोलो ना मनोज, एक क्लोज फोटो बोलो। फुटेज में
applause, please welcome Dr. Tharoor. Before we proceed further, may I please request Minister Councillor Mr. McCaslin to come up on stage and felicitate Dr. Tharoor. Mr. McCaslin. May we have the felicitations, please? Few more things here. Pictures put the store around Mr. Tharoor. Also quickly, we'll go ahead and be conducting the unveiling of the Pennsylvania Education Hub logo. So we have the opening on the left side as well as the right side. We can have one quick photo opportunity against the logo. Thank you so much, Mr. Muskins and Mr. McCaslin. I request you to take a seat. Dr. Tharoor, we eagerly awaiting your speech.
Thank you very much for that warm welcome, and I was a bit overwhelmed by all the gifts even before I'd spoken. You know, in India we customarily expect to be rewarded after our efforts. But anyway, thank you, and this is a nice trend, and I hope it's going to continue along these lines. I do want to say though that I was particularly pleased to be invited by Ambassador Kanika Chaudhary to come and help inaugurate this event this evening. I first went to the States in 1975, which turns out is a long time before Mr. Muskins. And on that occasion, I mean, I must say Pennsylvania was one of the places I was most interested in during my rather long stint in that country, working for the United Nations. I did quite often wander into Pennsylvania, quite apart from the Liberty Bell and all the nice things that our MC has mentioned. It's also the cradle of cricket in the United States, which many Indians will probably value more. The Philadelphia Cricket Club, in the 1890s, the greatest fast bowler in the world was the Philadelphian J. Martin King. And Haverford College, which was mentioned by, I think, by you, Mr. Muskins, is one of the few colleges in the United States that still has a cricket team. So actually, usually captained by an Indian student or a Sri Lankan student, but they have a cricket team at Haverford. And of course, for those of you who are interested in history, as I am, the Civil War battlefields in Pennsylvania are quite remarkable. Many of them are still very well preserved. I remember taking my kids, who become very sensitive and poetic later in life, but in those days were extremely military obsessed. I remember taking them on a tour of all the battlefields in Pennsylvania and Virginia. And Pennsylvania is really quite remarkable. And the Gettysburg Address that many of you have heard about, which Lincoln delivered, it's sort of, I mean, the Gettysburg Address is sort of the Tryst with Destiny speech equivalent, and composed in exactly the same way, written on the back of an envelope in the middle of great stress and drama, and then delivered for posterity. Very much Nehru's Tryst with Destiny and Lincoln's Gettysburg Address. And Gettysburg is in Pennsylvania, as are many other places, Spotsylvania Courthouse and God knows what else. And there's lots to go and see in Pennsylvania. And of course, there are these very fine educational institutions. I was asking Mr. Muskins whether he was Dutch, and I turned out to be lucky guess he is originally Dutch. But you see, for the longest time, one of the best known groups, ethnic groups in the United States, were a group of people called the Pennsylvania Dutch, except they weren't Dutch. The Americans got it wrong. They were actually German, so they called themselves the Pennsylvania Deutsch. And the Anglo-Saxons compressed that to Pennsylvania Dutch, and so we now have genuine Pennsylvania Dutchmen here. Anyway, I'm just delighted here to be here to launch this global initiative of the state of Pennsylvania to establish this hub, Penn Hub, I'm told it's going to be called, as a platform for exchanging ideas, knowledge, and skills in the field of higher education, which really adds to the expanding association of India with universities abroad. And I'd like to congratulate everybody at both the idea end and the receiving end of this initiative. You are forerunners. You're the first American state to do this, and unless Mr. McCaslin corrects me, I don't believe there is a federal equivalent. This is it. This is the first real venture to have a hub for all educational institutions in a particular part of America, and so real congratulations through you to the governor and the people of Pennsylvania. Now, from my point of view as a former education minister in this country, I mean, collaborations with various countries in the field of education is something I always attached a lot of importance to. I believed we needed to do it much more than ever before because the demand in India is so great that we are simply not able to cope with the number of institutions we have in our country. And that's something that we really have to acknowledge. I mean, when 100,000 Indian students go to America every year, or whatever it is, 40, 50,000 now go to Australia every year, and comparable numbers to Britain, to Europe, and so on. We are not only showing that Indians have an international sensibility and are curious and interested and willing to go and explore the rest of the universe, and particularly to acquire knowledge and widen their horizons. We're also acknowledging that we really can't do it all by ourselves in this country. We don't have enough quality institutions to attract and keep the kids who are getting into American universities.